Hello, my name is Pamela Hanrahan. This module is called Rules. Of course, all businesses are subject to rules that set the boundaries within which they operate. Some rules are legal rules, others are more in the nature of conventions or standards. Legal rules can include rules imposed and enforced by government, as well as rules that are agreed privately and are enforceable between the business's various stakeholders. This module has 4 learning objectives. First, to explore the different potential sources of rules in business. Second, to distinguish between the different types of rules, including legal and regulatory rules, private rules, and industry-wide and firm-specific standards and norms. Third, to analyse how these different kinds of rules operate and interact with each other when they need to be applied in the business. And fourth, to understand the kinds of risks that rules create for business and how those risks might be mitigated. Each of the modules in this course uses a case study through which we explore these ideas. For this module, the case study concerns a property investment scheme called the Prime Retirement and Aged Care Property Trust. You may not have heard about the Prime Trust case, but we think it is a good one to demonstrate the different kinds of rules that can apply to business and the potential consequences of a failure by people in business to understand and follow those rules. Prime Trust was a form of investment known as a Registered Managed Investment Scheme, or MIS. MIS are a highly regulated form of investment vehicle. This MIS was a property trust, an arrangement under which a company called APCH raised money from hundreds of investors and pooled that money to develop retirement villages and aged care facilities. The Prime Trust was subject to different kinds of rules that governed what APCH and its directors could do with the investors' money. APCH was required to hold a licence from ASIC to provide financial services. It was subject to legal rules contained in relevant acts made by the Parliament and in other regulatory rules made by the executive branch of government. It was also subject to rules agreed between it and the investors in the documents that set up the scheme and private law duties as a trustee. Separately, the directors and other officers of APCH were subject to rules derived from legislation and from the general law that required them to look after investors' interests. APCH and its directors broke those rules and took money from the Prime Trust that they were not entitled to. They did this because they thought they could change the rules along the way without thinking about the investors' interests. As you work through the case study, think about the different types of rules that applied to Prime Trust and where APCH and the directors went wrong.